let's talk about one of the spurned lovers in the Jake Trouba saga, and that is the Buffalo Sabres. Everybody was talking about the Columbus deal that was in place. From what we understand, the Sabres had one in place too, and they could have used some good news last week after going up 4-0 against the Colorado Avalanche in front of producer Drew, and then losing the game. 4-0. It was 4-0.
Do they want to have the most expensive decor in the history of man?
Well, I mean,
Darlene, Power, friggin' add $8 million in Trouba.
I keep saying it, Steve. How many towering defensemen are you going to add before you realize you need something else other than towering defensemen?
Well, at the end of the
you
day,
need
it's goal scoring contests.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right. And so Kevyn Adams, I thought, had 3 or 4 notable quotes. And
you made me ignore all of them over the last few days.
Yes.
So that I could react live on the show, and it's been very difficult.
I'm going to warn you that this particular news conference is mixed like a Beatles concert, mixed like a Beatles album, in that one side will come in one ear and one side will come in the other because they mono-mixed it.
So annoying.
It'll be fixed. Nobody will hear that.
Oh, nobody will hear that? Oh, that's good.
No, I'll fix it.
Jesse Blake.
But we'll start at a minute 55 into this. And I want you to hear what the reporter has to say. Because Buffalo is a hardcore hockey town. They've got great media.
You can't fool them.
No, you can't. And listen to what this reporter says. This is just after Kevin's opening remarks, and you'll see this reporter just lay right into it.
Oh, the hard part?
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Happy to answer questions.
Kevin, you've got 11 wins in 26 games. You're 12th in the East. You're 23rd in the league right now. You're coming off, you're 3 days removed from one of the most disgraceful losses in the history of the franchise. Why is your team so mentally fragile? And what are you going to do about changing the composition of this mix?
Yeah, I think the Colorado.
No, let's not keep. Let's keep going.
No,
let him answer.
Bravo.
Good question.
Holy shit.
Okay, let's go, because I want you to hear his answer here, because that starts with that question. Here's what he answers with.
Colorado game is that's tough. That's one of those games that they wins and losses at the end of the day all count the same, but those ones hurt. And there's a lot of reasons, I think, as you watch the video and you go back, that we unraveled, and we need to learn from that and be better. I think if I'm looking to the positives of, you bring in Lindy, new system, we're 26 games into the year. Some of the stuff that I look at trying to judge our team, there's some positives there and reasons to believe that we're going to take some steps, which we need to. We're not happy with where we are. We need to get better. But, you look at, even strength, expected goals for, goals against, we're right where you want to be, to be a playoff team. We're surrounded, I think it's Jersey, Dallas, LA, maybe there's just good teams in that mix right with us. So there's some things that I look at when you try to step back and zoom out and take some of the emotion out that are positive signs.
Okay, let's hold it there. So I wanted you to hear that, because I wanted you to hear the reporter who ostensibly is representing the fans.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's what the media's ultimate job is to be. You are the conduit between the fan anger and then you listen to how the organization responds, right? You listen to how Kevyn Adams responds there. Do you feel and see, and can you empathize with the frustration that a Sabres fan must feel listening to an answer like that?
Yes. To me, and we said this sort of at the beginning of the season, the Sabres are one of the most difficult teams to evaluate and talk about this season. Because at the beginning of the season, I said, I think they've done a lot of good things. I think they're on the right path. And I think if you look at where they are in the standings, I think I think I was correct. Mm-hmm. I think I was right. They're better than they were last year. Are they good enough? Sabres fans they finally, after all these years, it's here. The breaking point is here. They're done. I thought after Eichel and everything, that was it. No, they still had some punishment to go through. And I don't know exactly what it was. Maybe it was watching all the former Sabres win cups in recent years, especially on the Panthers. I mean, Eichel winning one the year before had to hurt too. I think that made them snap, and they just don't give a shit what the excuse is anymore. They're done. And I don't want to hear it.
If the Leafs were where the Sabres are, and Treliving or Dubas or Keefe or Berube or Pelly or Lou or anybody got up and said, yeah, but look at where our expected goals
Our expected goals are pretty good. I don't think Kevyn Adams said anything wrong. I don't. But that doesn't mean saying them out loud is right. No one wants to hear that shit. If you say something no one wants to hear, was it the correct thing to say? I'm not totally sure.
Well, especially in a situation like this.
He made the same mistake that every executive seems to make in these situations. He tried to talk his way out of it.
All he had to do there was go, you know what, I want to level with you. Nobody on the team and nobody in the front office is happy with this either.
Yep.
That's it. There's your sentence. There it is.
How often does an executive talking make it better? It's almost never.
Well, he starts this press conference, and we won't go to it, guys, but I want to say that he said, you guys wanted me here, I'm here. I believe in being accountable, here I am. That's how he opened the press conference.
Bless him. Bless him. I don't know if it was the right call, dude.
Okay, now I want you to listen to this. Go to 738, Jesse, if you can. This is where the jokes from this weekend sort of started, although this isn't quite the palm trees line. But he does go back to this a couple of times because the reporters put him in this direction. So this is the line you're looking for is we're not a destination city. I want to run this one, and then I want to run the next one, and then I want to break it down. So have a listen to this. It's about 40 seconds.
This is not a time, we're not a destination city right now where you're going to be able to go out and get UFAs that are the key guys, and I just don't think that's the way to build a sustainable winner. So you evaluate your core, you look for trades that you can have players that can grow with you and add to your team. If there's UFAs that you can add that make sense, that work, of course you're going to be open to doing that. So that's what we're in the process of. But to circle back, yeah, you always look at everything, and if there's ways to improve, we'll do it.
Okay, let's go to the next one here.
Well, in recent memory, the way to build a winner is to call you.
Let's go to, hold off on that just for a sec. Let's go to 14-15 here. And this is where the palm trees quote comes in. Okay. So you add that to I wanted to add to that quote because that quote was the one that made the rounds, but there were other things around it.
It's really simple. You become a perennial playoff team. You make the playoffs. You have a chance to win Stanley Cup year after year. You are on less teams, no trade list. We don't have palm trees. We have taxes in New York. Those are real. And those are things you deal with. But, and trust me, I'm in conversations every day, and there's a lot of players in this league that were on their list. So we need to earn the respect, and it starts with getting over the hump, getting in the playoffs, competing. And once you do that, I mean, look at the Bills. I mean, that would be a perfect example. I would, assume that this wasn't a destination or a place that a lot of people were signing up to when they were in a 17-year playoff drought, and they've done a phenomenal job over there. You get Josh Allen, and people are lining up because they have a chance to win the Super Bowl every year, and I think that's what we're working to build here.
Okay, now we'll pause it there. Now, here's the thing with the Sabres, and this isn't Kevyn Adams' fault necessarily because he is several general managers removed because they replaced one every month. It seemed like
it was crazy. It was crazy.
But they did have a Josh Allen. His name was Jack Eichel. And what the Sabres did, and this is where I take real umbrage with his "we're not a destination city," because it plays into the nobody wants to live or play in Buffalo thing, which is not true. I've seen eras of Buffalo Sabre hockey where free agents went out of their way to sign there.
Isn't Minnesota in first place?
Well, yeah, but I think
It's
people would
cold
say
there.
that Minneapolis and Buffalo are very different economically, different challenges and that sort of thing.
They don't have palm trees.
They don't have palm trees. They do have taxes. The I think where I want to go with this is you're not a destination organization. The way that, and I want you to go and I want you to watch, and I'll still have Sabres fans disagreeing with me in my comments when I make this. I want you to go and watch episode 4 of the Amazon Prime series, The Captains. And they talk about, or not The Captains, that's the Jake Trouba one. I want you to look at the one with Jack Eichel.
Yeah, who's he paired with? I know what you're talking
Yeah, just go watch the one with Jack Eichel. We don't have to break it down too much. What this organization did to Jack Eichel was they made it seem like he was a prima donna. They made it seem like, hey, listen, we've done everything we can for you, Jack. We gave you $80 million on a contract. The least you could do is do what our doctor says to do with your neck that you have to live with for the rest of your life.
And get operated on, what was it, every 10 years for the rest of your life?
Yeah. And what happened was, what really happened here, guys, and Sabres fans, I need you to hear me on this, because Sabres fans turned on Jack Eichel.
Yep.
And it's not necessarily your fault, but the organization wanted you to. They wanted to drive home the pressure of, if you're going to be here, you're going to do it our way. And Jack said no. And so there was a press campaign of which some of the media participated, where, hey, Jack Eichel, you're being a prima donna. You don't care about Buffalo Sabres hockey. You're not in it to win it. I'm so glad that you got traded. And this is an organization that Ryan O'Reilly signed a contract with, and when he won the Conn Smythe said he lost his love of hockey. This is an organization that moved off of Brandon Montour very quickly, couldn't get rid of Sam Reinhart fast enough after a couple of seasons where he did. Let me ask you this. If you're a free agent or you're a Jake Trouba looking at the Sabres organization, why would you want to go?
They got one big fish in recent memory, and it was Taylor Hall, and it's because he fucked up.
And how did he do there? He was bad with the Sabres.
They're like the bad kid school. Like you got detention too many times. You know, Taylor Hall didn't do his homework, and now he's got to go to Buffalo.
And
for 5 seconds, by the way, until they traded him for,
because he was bad.
Like Anders, how's Anders Bjork doing? And a second, I think, Taylor Hall, who was not very far removed from his MVP.
And this is the thing, right? Fried was mentioning this morning that Sabres fans are all over Dylan Cousins, and Sabres don't want to move off him because they worry that he's the next guy to leave and then go win a cup somewhere else.
I mean, learn something from history, for God's sake.
You have Cousins, you have Peterka, you have Tage Thompson.
Move off all of them too. They're too good.
And this is the thing. All the goal scoring that the Buffalo Sabres need in the expected goals department, here's the thing about expected goals, is you actually do have to finish. You do have to score them. All of those guys could have provided that. Eichel, Reinhart, they could all be there. Those are the guys I would argue they need. Casey Middlestat. Did you need Bo Byram that bad? Yeah. When you have Power and Dahlin and all these other guys?
In retrospect, I kind of liked the deal at the time, but in retrospect, if you look at roster construction, you need Middlestat more than you need Byram. That's not the case for most teams. I think most teams need Byram more than you need Middlestat. But they need Middlestat, who also hasn't had the greatest season.
Yeah, but on a Colorado team that's been mostly injured and
really, really, really good start, and then he's tailed off. But still.
And then, Jesse, if we'll go to the last one here, the one thing that Sabres fans are super pissed about is, you do the Jeff Skinner buyout. You've got a significant amount of cap available. Why haven't you done anything with it? Here's what they say.
Yeah, I mean, I think the answer is yes, except it's not in a vacuum though, Lance. You have to look at past this year when you're putting your roster together, and the cap, I think I've clearly explained before, has never been something that I'm as focused on as all of you or the fans. We're trying to build our roster out that we're able year after year to compete. And if you go add an $8 million player that's got 5 years left on his contract, what does that do for the next round of guys? And that's what my job is, to make sure we're positioning ourselves not only today but into the future. So if there's players out there we think that it will help us today, that also keeping the long-term view in mind, we'll act on it.
But you already know. You're not paying big money to Quinn or Levi now, and in July that might have been a question. You know that now, that they're not getting big money deals after this season.
Oh, I'm glad. I wish you were their agent.
You know, I mean, but the whole world knows that just by watching the games. So, I mean, and you're right, you have to take the long-term view, but we're talking about this year. I mean, you cannot go 14 years out of the playoffs. I mean, teams make it just out of dumb luck. I mean, I understand you're probably doing consistent trade talks with teams, and I know the Trouba rumors are out there right now. He might be on the team tomorrow for all we know. The question, I think, is simply, why isn't there another Jason Zucker type 1-year veteran kind of acquisition being made? Not a guy with 5 years left on his deal. You've got the room on the cap this year where you can still deal with future years.
Yeah, I guess, I'd have to go into specifics, which is tricky in these situations. But if you go back to the summer, there were a short list of UFA guys that we had targeted, and fortunately we were able to get Zucker because I think he's really stepped in and been a stabilizing player and been a good leader and mentor and played well on the ice. There were other guys pursued, chose other places. That's what happens in the UFA market. And in terms of trades, I mean, there was, in my mind, a trade that we worked really hard at this summer that we went all in on. You guys probably would have roasted me, said we were going to overpay to get the player, and they ended up not trading him, and he's still on that team.
That would be Marty Nietzsche's.
It's not from lack of want, but we're not going to go, Mike, and just make a trade so you guys can say we've spent to the cap if we don't think it makes sense for now and into the future. And that's just, you just can't operate like that.
So that's positive.
Who did you have?
Yeah, so that's the one thing that I took issue with Kevyn Adams there, because like the palm tree stuff I can get. Like, they're obviously not a destination. He was just trying to say, like, we're not Florida, which is, like he said, in the worst way possible, and became a meme and all that. But the not spending the money and the excuses, and I think the guys asking the questions, the reporters in the room there, they're so right.
That's 20 minutes in to the crucifixion of Kevyn.
Yeah,
It's a 30-minute press conference.
it's
Holy shit.
You're sitting there and you're asking him, 14 years out of the playoffs, like, every year now has to be a go for year, right? And Steve, if I give you $100 and I say I'm gonna give you $100 so you can buy dinner today and tomorrow,
yes,
and you say, well, I want this dinner here, I'm looking at this menu and they have an item for $100, so I can't buy that because then I won't have anything for tomorrow.
Yeah,
don't spend the full 100.
Yeah,
like, why don't you get something different so that you'll have money for today and tomorrow? And with Kevyn Adams, the question about the cap is, you have so much cap room and you have supposedly the thumbs up from the Pagulas to go spend the money, but your excuse is that you don't want to sign an $8 million deal for 5 years. Don't do that contract, do the lesser contract. He didn't have an answer for that, because he seems like the way he's GMing this Buffalo Sabres team is coming from a standpoint of being way too timid. And he's doing the easy path of, like, we got a bunch of young guys, we got a bunch of draft picks, just play them, it's all good, instead of being proactive in building a team and trying to do something to win. He's sitting back and he's throwing his hands up and saying, we can't get free agents, we got a bunch of young kids, they need to stick around, they only need contracts one day, and just sitting back and relaxing, instead of everybody's asking for some sort of action from Kevyn Adams, and he just doesn't seem right for the job at this point.
The anecdote that he provided, too, if I just to add to that before you jump in, the anecdote he provided about, well, what happens the next 5 years of the player that has, an $8 million
cap
contract?
goes up, and you do your job.
Yeah. Okay, so you know what? You're right. You're making several $1 million to do this, or $1 million, or whatever he's making. Just don't do anything.
The Florida Panthers traded their all-time leading scorer. And we're not even talking about, like, all the trades that they made with the Sabres. The Vegas Golden Knights got rid of the most beloved player in franchise history. The Rangers are just lopping off heads left and right. Do something. Do anything. Yeah, well, this guy said, oh, call the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Do something. Now, the one, I'm not going to stick up for him, but the subtext here that he just can't say, because he'll get fired, is the accusation from a lot of Sabres fans is its ownership and internal cap, and they refuse to spend to the cap.
Kevyn Adams always says that he's got like the go ahead from the Pagulas to do it, but all of the rumors are that he doesn't, and the actual thing is he can't spend the money, which is even worse. Then like fold your franchise, go do something else.
Overspend.